Everyone's talking about the support strike in Marvel Rivals. But what if I told you it's not just a support problem? It's something way bigger, something that could quietly break Marvel Rivals if it's not fixed. If you've been paying attention, you already know. Healers are quitting, strategists are walking out mid-season. At first glance, it looks like just another angry player strike over bad balance changes. But if you dig a little deeper, there's a much scarier problem underneath the surface. Marvel Rivals isn't just making supports unhappy, it's accidentally punishing teamwork itself, the lifeblood of any team shooter. And if teamwork dies, Marvel Rivals could lose everything that made it special in the first place. Today, I'm breaking down exactly how this hidden problem is spreading across ranked, meta, and player culture, and what it means for the future of the game. On the surface, Marvel Rivals' ranked system looks solid. You win games, you go up. You lose, you drop. But when you look closer at how the system determines your value as a player, that's where the cracks start showing. Because right now, ranked is quietly encouraging players to play selfishly. If you're putting up big damage numbers or popping off with eliminations, you're seen as a star. But if you're playing a team-oriented role like healer, tank, or even a support DPS who enables others, you're often invincible on the stat sheet. You're doing everything right, peeling for allies, saving squishies, setting up engagements, zoning enemies off objectives. But the scoreboard doesn't care. In fact, it punishes you for it. You could land every utility ability and coordinate plays like a chess master. But if your numbers don't look impressive, the system and your teammates treat you like dead weight. And this is where the ranked environment starts to rot from the inside. Players realize they're not being rewarded for playing with the team. They're being rewarded for playing for themselves. So what happens? Supports stop healing and start going damage hybrid to climb faster. Tanks abandon peel duties to farm eliminations. DPS players ignore team fights to flank for solo picks, because that's what the system tells them to do. Forget the team. Pad your stats. Look good. Get rewarded. And sure, some of this behavior is player-driven. But most of it, it's just players responding logically to how the game is structured. When kills and damage are the most visible signs of performance, teamwork becomes optional, and support roles become thankless. Even worse, players who try to play selflessly start getting punished by the very system they're trying to respect. And this isn't just a problem for support players. This affects everyone. Tanks who try to engage properly but get no backup. DPS players who rely on coordination but get zero peel. Teams that collapse not because of skill gaps, but because no one trusts each other to do the job anymore. It turns every match into a glorified stat farming arena, not a team-based competition. And here's the worst part. The more players adapt to this broken incentive system, the faster teamwork erodes, until it's completely gone. Let's talk about the dive meta. If you've been playing Marvel Rivals in Season 2, you already know what I'm talking about. The most dominant team comps right now revolve around burst damage, hypermobility, and chaotic engagements. Fast-moving, high-impact heroes that can jump in, get a kill, and dash out, all without ever needing backup. Characters like Psylocke, Star-Lord, and Spider-Man thrive in this environment. They don't rely on tanks. They don't wait for a healer. They dash, delete, disappear. And it works because the current balance favors raw aggression over tactical setups. But here's the dark side. This kind of meta actively discourages coordination. You can't play slow, thoughtful, synergistic comps. If you do, you'll just get overwhelmed by dive heroes who don't need to communicate. They just need to go in first and delete the squishies. Supports can't position safely because no one's peeling. Tanks can't create space because no one's playing behind them. Even DPS players with good awareness can't coordinate because everyone's playing in different corners of the map. The pace is so fast and fragmented that trying to play smart actually puts you at a disadvantage. If you're a healer, you end up just trying to survive. Every match becomes a desperate dance. Dodge the dive, hide behind walls, run for your life, all while getting blamed for not healing enough. And because everyone's constantly dying or disengaging, your value as a support plummets. Why waste your time tracking cooldowns, timing your team's push, or setting up a perfect ult, when your allies are just YOLO diving with no warning? The result? Players stop trusting the team. They start focusing only on self-preservation, how to survive, how to pad numbers before they die. It's no longer, how can I help the team win? It's how can I do my job without relying on anyone? And the more this mindset spreads, the worse coordination becomes. Because everyone's playing solo, even in a 6 versus 6 match. The game starts to feel more like a chaotic free-for-all brawl than a strategic team-based shooter. And here's the part that hits the hardest. Even if you want to play coordinated, even if you queue with friends, even if you shot call, the current meta often won't let you. You don't have time to regroup. You don't have time to set up combos. You barely have time to react before your backline's gone. So even the players who still believe in teamwork are being trained to stop using it. The meta itself is teaching players to be selfish, not because they want to, but because they have to. And when the dominant way to win is just go solo and frag, it's only a matter of time before the entire culture shifts to reflect that. We've talked about how ranked rewards selfish play. We've broken down how the dive meta makes teamwork feel pointless, but here's where things get dangerous because these issues are no longer just mechanical. They're becoming cultural. The Marvel Rivals community is shifting, and not in a good way. You can feel it in match chat. You can feel it in voice comms or in the silence because no one uses voice anymore. You can feel it in how quickly players go from frustrated to toxic. It's not just that teamwork is harder, it's that respect for teamwork and for teammates is dying. Let's be real. Supports are getting flamed constantly. Tanks are getting called useless when the backline dies. DPS players are being blamed for not carrying hard enough. It doesn't matter what role you play, everyone is turning on each other. Why? Because the game is teaching them that if something goes wrong, it must be someone else's fault. If you lose a fight, it's not because the enemy team coordinated better, it's because your support didn't heal you fast enough, or your tank didn't dive with you, or your DPS wasn't doing damage. This kind of blame culture thrives when teamwork breaks down, and Marvel Rivals is creating the perfect environment for it. And here's the twist. It's not just toxic players doing this. Even good players, experienced, strategic players are falling into this mindset. Because when you feel like you're the only one trying, it's easy to stop caring about anyone else. The natural conclusion? Everyone becomes self-centered. Everyone assumes no one will help them, so they stop helping others. It becomes me versus the world, in a game that's supposed to be built around working with others, and once that mindset takes hold, it's really hard to reverse. Because when you queue into your next match and expect everyone to be bad, you're less likely to talk. You're less likely to coordinate. You're more likely to go off and do your own thing. And if things fall apart, you just say, see, I was right. You build your own self-fulfilling prophecy, and so does everyone else. Suddenly, every game becomes 6 solo players clashing, not 2 teams fighting. The soul of the hero shooter, real, satisfying teamwork, vanishes. And the worst part? New players are being trained to see this as normal. They don't know what it used to feel like. To win because of a last-minute save from a healer. To hold a choke with a tank buddy who actually had your back. They're entering a game where everyone's already given up on trust. And that's a tragedy. Because when the culture shifts this way, it doesn't matter how good the mechanics are. The game becomes toxic by default, not by design, but by neglect. And once that respect is gone, there's nothing left to hold the community together. So let's be honest. Support players striking? That's just the first symptom. They're not overreacting. They're not whining. They're simply the first ones to feel the collapse because their entire role depends on trust, positioning, and protection from teammates. When teamwork dies, support players are the ones who die first, literally, in-game. But it's not going to stop with them. Tanks are already feeling it too. You can see it, tanks hesitating to engage because they know no one will follow up. Or tanks trying to peel for a backline that has already abandoned them. Even DPS mains, the ones who are supposed to thrive in chaos, are starting to realize it doesn't matter how good your aim is if your team can't hold the objective for 5 seconds. This isn't just a support crisis. This is a teamwork extinction event happening in slow motion. And if Marvel Rivals doesn't course correct soon, they're not just risking balance issues, they're risking the very soul of the game. Because at the end of the day, nobody installs a team shooter hoping to solo 1 versus 6 every match. Nobody queues up dreaming of teammates who ignore them, flame them, or abandon them. Players stay and communities thrive when they feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves. That's why this matters so much. This is bigger than a strike, bigger than a Season 2 meta complaint, bigger than any one hero being overtuned. This is about protecting the future of Marvel Rivals before it's too late. And that's why we need to talk about this, openly, honestly, and urgently. That's why I want to hear from you. Have you noticed teamwork dying too? Are you feeling the pressure to solo carry even when you don't want to? Have you seen the culture shift happening in your own matches? Drop a comment below. Share your experience, good, bad, or anything in between. And if you found this breakdown helpful, drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more updates. Catch you in the next one.